Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to an incredibly rushed version of Radical Comment of the Week for September the 15th through the 21st, 2020. The three honorable mentions come to us from Logicost, Wolfpack 1, and Rusty Shackelford. The bronze medal is going to go to Art Bell. Vanity Fair 2015, exposing male Tinder masters. Body count of 40 plus per year, 5 and 8 days. 007 type men, the very best in looks, money, and career. Ugly broke men know to walk from the service. Fast. Lars from Metallica, a small and bald man, showed women his bank statements, USD 40 million, to seduce. Bedroom. Ghost her after, suggest, open to relationship, then ditch her contact info on to the next. Women treated as options, not as a priority. Not queens. Men sleep down in looks. Poll and hold their video game. I like that. Poll and hold their video game. Male top 10s will be with 5 to 10 in looks. May not ever settle until they are Sean Connery in age. On to the leftover class of women. Men who are 5s may never get a date, let alone anything else. So we see 5s get jobs as cab drivers, jobs in bars, to abuse drunk women. Top men won't commit, no incentive. Lower men quit the scene, grow skills and wealth. Wait for 40s to settle down? Women will chase 10s after seducing a few, even after being rejected for long-term relationships by all of them. Top 10 men win as 90 lose and walk away, but losers actually win since they are not wasting their time and spending money on meetups that will never reward. Tinder is a 10 magnet. Bumble too, since only women can make first contact and can see occupation of men. Earning power, aka security. Men act open to long-term love, marriage, kids, pretend to not care that a single mom has a kid, etc. Then lie. Women want to believe. 2015 article, men were on to the trickery of Tinder 5 years ago. Okay. So, yeah, Art. The thing is, it's genetics, really. A man that is a 8, a 9, a 10, they have options. And men generally don't have to worry about the biological clock also. It's really unfair, men versus women. Because, men, you brought up Sean Connery. Well, I mean, I'm sure Sean is kind of getting on in age right now, and he's not as attractive and debonair, but I look at him and, what's that one guy from The Taken? I forget his name. He was Qui-Gon, in the first Star Wars prequel movie. Well, I recently saw a movie with him in it, and I thought to myself, comparatively, a woman of that same age would not nearly be as sought after, right? So what is that guy? He's got to be like 70, right? So it's really not fair. But what's also not fair is what women do. Women will go through these Tinder apps, and they will just choose the men that are the best looking and have the best jobs. And the men that play these Tinder apps know exactly the game, which is, you know what? I'll pick them up, and then I'll tell them what they want to hear. I'll pop them, then I'll drop them. Then on to the next one, like Jay-Z says. On to the next one, on to the next one. And we call them players, but we don't focus on the women who actually don't seem to really, like they're not self-aware of that's what they're doing. It's like I'm saying there's quality men out here. There's a lot of quality men out here. And a lot of these women are just disregarding a lot of these quality men that are great men because they want to get with the hottest guy. They want to get with the hottest guy. They want to get with the guy that has the hottest guy, the best job. But ironically, the man that's probably going to treat you the best women is a guy that is not a 10 out of 10 in looks, that doesn't have the highest quality of a job. Odds are that guy is probably going to just move on. Maybe if you're with them for a long time, they're probably just going to move on and maybe cheat on you. I'm not going to get into all of this and, because I could talk about that for a long time. But this is a really interesting comment to give a response to. You know, I like responding to these comments. You know, it's almost like, you know, it entertains me to respond to this kind of comment versus, you know, things about e-begging. I'm just saying. Destroyer of Heroes gets the silver. Silent Rob has been on YouTube for 13 years, and I get it now. I really do. Silent Rob is no Billy Chaser. He's no Wood Hawker. I mean, he is an e-beggar like them. He just doesn't have their looks or charm. So he's had to take it in a different direction. Rob has carved his own niche in the world of e-begging. He has established an audience for years, and he knows how to manipulate them. If you saw Rob walking down the streets of Dayton, Ohio, you'd probably say, "Oh, great, this addict is about to ask us for money." That's harsh. I don't agree with that, Destroyer Viewer. That's harsh. You know, I won't say he looks like an addict. But no, this addict is not going to ask you for money. This addict is going to prey upon a certain type of male that identifies with him and sucker them into supporting the habits long term, like, say, 13 plus years. "Oh, I don't deserve your tips. Stop it. You're too kind. My Patreon is just a joke. Donate only if you're, you know, in on the joke." How is that any different from Wood saying, "Quit sending me stuff," while having, quit sending me stuff, while having the P.O. Box still listed and still doing giant P.O. Box hauls? Maybe because Wood is some pretentious hipster? Aussie with perfect hair, while Rob is your below average type of guy. He's got that demographic living vicariously through him. He's got people thinking you're cool if you help him out. Even his own white knight came here and said Rob gives more attention to donators. Real men don't give other men money online. That's cult level stuff. This is what we've been talking about for years now with e-beggars. They are clueless as to what the donations really cost the person that is sending them money. They don't know if it's a burden on them or if it's stolen or if where it even came from at the end of the day. Miles is eating ramen every night. I don't know if it's because he is broke, an Asian wannabe, or both. Judging by the bedroom he films in, I'd say both, but I don't believe it. I don't know if that's my point. Here's the Fisher-Price mic drop. Ad revenue and donations are not the same thing. These guys look utterly desperate continuing to argue that. YouTube is a giant company making steady increases during the pandemic while other companies are firing people. Ad revenue comes from YouTube, and YouTube doesn't have kids to feed or a parent with cancer. YouTube doesn't have a gambling problem. YouTube isn't trying to be your friend because YouTube thinks you're funny or cool. YouTube doesn't want to impress you. YouTube is not mentally ill. Heck, man, YouTube doesn't even have a face, but this guy does. Okay. A lot of things I could talk about in that comment there. A lot of things you touch upon, but you talk about how Silent Rob is no Billy Chaser. He's no Wood Hawker. You know, we talked about, like, you know, guys that generally are above average in looks that tend to, you know, get the females. Well, I would say, and I disagree with you, you know, Rob doesn't look like an addict. He doesn't, you know, he just looks like a normal, average, everyday guy, you know, whereas you look at someone like a Wood Hawker, you know, or a Billy Chaser, and I would say they're probably above average in, you know, muscular physique, you know, tone, like looks. You know, some people might not agree, but, you know, just like judging, if you put those three people in a lineup, women are generally going to probably go for Wood Hawker or Billy Chaser versus a Silent Rob. And here comes where a lot of guys, they relate to a Silent Rob. They're like, you know what, this guy probably has it tough in life. You know, he's had to fight for what he's had versus other guys that just get on a silver plate. And I think he kind of plays into that. And it also is helpful that, you know, he doesn't have 1 million subscribers. He's not a huge channel. So people are more inclined, I think, to donate to someone like that. I just don't like that he's getting large donations from people that, you know, could spend the money. And I mean, like, if you're Rob, like, how do you, like I'm saying, like, if you get $100 donation and you're playing a video game, like, how do you, I would have trouble sleeping is what I'm saying. Like, I would have trouble going to sleep knowing that there's people out there. And that one dude, that one guy that, you know, has mental issues, right? And he brought up that it's just that guy that has mental issues, because I tried to bring it up, you know, in a point of criticism. Well, if you know a guy, and I forget his name, is a little bit, you know, off in the head, then why do you feel it necessary to take advantage of that person to take their donations? And that one person, in one correspondence, Rob actually seemed to get mad that he was donating money to someone else's Patreon, and he said, like, whoa, what are you doing donating to that person's Patreon? You shouldn't be doing that. So it's one thing to be getting money from someone, but actually trying to, I mean, who the fuck are you to get money from someone and then tell them who or who not to donate to? Next up with the gold medal, it's Logicost. Hikokomori, it's Japanese, Hikokomori, I still think I butchered that, is a word that basically describes shut-ins in Japan. It can obviously be used to refer to people in other countries, but it comes from Japan, and the phenomenon is fairly pervasive there. People who grow up and can't cope with the pressures of the outside world, and so they simply stay at home. A word that usually describes hikokomori is NEET, or no experience, education, or training. It's a terrible social issue in Japan and in many other countries. I can get the kek factor in using hikokomori to ironically describe one's own activities. You know, hiding in your room, playing video games, I get it. I think it's a questionable thing to label your channel that, though, simply because of the overwhelmingly negative baggage of the word. But hey, people name their channels all sorts of messed up stuff for the lulz. I'm not going to go in hard on Hikokomori Media. I don't know him. Also, it's not like what he does is unique. Plenty of people online have tried to develop, let's just say, these kinds of entertaining personas that are on display exclusively when they're on camera. But it's tiring. It's tiring to watch, and it surely must be tiring for them. I can see how getting $100, $200, maybe more from e-begging might seem like an incredible bonanza of money, depending on your age, size, situation. It's just money. Money come, money go. If it is changing how you act as a person, you're debasing yourself. Also, it changes how you approach your online content. At first, I think the vast majority of people get into streaming/video making with a big dream of feeling of wanting to be a part of a community, building their own name up. But when you start holding out your hand, things start changing. It's no longer about wanting to be part of something. Suddenly, you feel like you're underappreciated. You feel taken advantage of. Why should I put in this much effort if I don't get rewarded for it? Personally, I think if content creator is thinking along those lines, it is because they have placed too much focus on their hobby. Their work/life balance is off kilter. If they focus more on attention on their ability to earn money in the work sphere, the passion and enjoyment they get from their content creation will flow from that. It's when people neglect their skill set, neglect their in real life work, and start putting too much focus on their content creation hobby that their output and outlook suffers. You can see it in the eyes of people beholden to their Patreon benefactors/stream donators. Too long, didn't read, I don't condemn HM, but he didn't really express good arguments yet against e-panhandling. He's free to outline them at any point. Well, yeah, he was, and he still is. You know, he's free to outline his views and opinions, even if you're wrong on things, you know, here. So many things I could use as a jumping off point for my response here, but I'll put in my example and how things kind of change sometimes, you know. If you have a channel and it's a hobby channel, and let's say you're only getting like a handful of views on a video, then it feels a little more freeing, you know? It generally feels more freeing because you're really not beholden to a large audience, right? You just do whatever you want to do. But as time goes on, you know, you get more and more people that come to your channel. You know, I, from time to time, during my channel's history, I'd have periods where people would come by and they would expect certain things. I had Walking Dead videos, so people would come by and they would expect Walking Dead videos. And now, I mean, a lot of people expect me to do videos on YouTubers and things like that. And, you know, it's something I can do and do well. But it's like, as I referred to earlier, it seems like, you know, I'm going to have more of a passion on other topics. And that's just natural, I guess. Because if you spend several months, or in my case, several years, focusing on like certain things, you feel like you become beholden to it. And you feel like kind of like a prisoner of the topics, I guess. I get maybe that's normal, that's natural. Hell, maybe sportscasters, maybe they feel the same way. They're like, you know what? I have to cover another fucking football game, and then it becomes more or less not really hobbyists, a hobby, but like a job. And that would be my biggest fear is like, logging in and viewing this like as a job. And if that ever happened and whatnot, then I would have to take a step back and say, Rick, this is a hobby channel. You yourself even say it. YouTube is a hobbyist. It's a place for hobbyists, right? But you have all these people that feel beholden and, shackled and prisoners to, just do certain content.